I have made over $200,000 betting on sports, and I'm going to show you guys my exact strategy. I'm Raid Prince, and I'm a value sports bettor, which means I only place bets when I know the odds are actually in my favor. This is called positive EV betting. Before we break down a little bit more of this strategy, let's talk about why 98% of people are losing money betting. When we first start betting, we're convinced that the way to beat the books is to do hours of research or really know a sport better than the books do. But in reality, this is the hardest way to win. This is known as originating, and think of this like veteran difficulty. This is one of the hardest ways to win. And most of the time, the research you're doing could already be priced into the line, especially if you're betting last minute into the sharpest line out there. Are you sure some bettor didn't already bet that line and it's priced in already? Ask yourself this before you place a bet. And instead of betting who you think's going to win, start to think about whose value. The odds is the most important part of betting, even if you're originating or top-down betting. I forgot to mention this, but top-down betting is also known as positive value betting, and this is my approach. We'll talk about more of this strategy later in the video. Another mistake a lot of originators make is focusing on the hardest markets to beat. It is very hard to get an edge on NFL money lines, especially if you're waiting last minute on game day to place your bets. You most likely don't have an edge at all, and it's already priced into the line. Instead, you should focus on an easier market to beat or an easier league completely. A lot of the overseas sports are a lot easier to beat, and the sports books aren't focused on pricing those at all. If you're smart enough to run your own model or do whatever you can to profit on these leagues, it's going to be a lot easier than NFL. But one of the cons is the limits are going to be a lot lower, and you probably can't get down as much as you can in NFL. But one of the pros of originating is you might last a little bit longer than someone top-down betting and just chasing steam. So if you're able to figure out how to originate, props to you and keep it up. If you're like me and not smart enough to use your ball knowledge and was losing money, don't worry, there's an easier approach, and you could do something a little bit easier on the difficulty scale called positive EV betting. This isn't just free money as well, and I would put this at like hardened difficulty, but if you're willing to put in the work, you can see profit with this strategy. With positive EV betting, we're just letting the originators do all the work for us and waiting for them to move the line. These originators who are printing money off the books oftentimes get limited from FanDuel and DraftKings, and they can't bet enough to make it worth their time. So they're going to bet on a site like Pinnacle or Circa because these sites run a little bit different and they don't limit anybody at all. Pinnacle and Circa realized, why limit these bettors when we can use their information and have the sharpest line out there? So that what they're going to do is have a global limit across the board. It doesn't matter if I'm up $5 or $1 million, I'm going to be able to get down the same amount as everybody else. Then all us positive value bettors do is watch Pinnacle for line movement and quickly bet it on a rec book like FanDuel or Draft. Before I break down a couple bets in real time for you guys, let's talk about some of the pros and cons of positive EV betting. One of the pros is you don't have to do any research at all, and we can profit on hundreds of different sports in different leagues without even naming a play, because all we're focused on is the odds of Pinnacle. One of the cons I would say though is you got to be very fast. These bets often only last 1 minute, 2 minutes max. If you're slow enough, you missed all the value. Then another con would be getting limited. Oftentimes, majority of our bets are going to get closing line value, so you're going to get limited a lot faster than someone that's originating, but don't let the limit stop you. I was still able to make over $200,000 on all limited accounts. The limits are just a setback. I'm going to jump on my computer and show you guys some examples of plus EV bets in the software I use called Pinnacle Odds Dropper to find all my value plays and to track Pinnacle odds in real time. I got Pinnacle Odds Dropper all loaded up on my computer now. Let's break down a bet I took an hour ago. So I got alerted on this turkey match here, and the price here is going to let you know what Pinnacle moved to. So this bet really steamed. Pinnacle opened plus 184 odds. You're going to see the limit opens pretty low, and as they get more information and more sharp bettors move the line, as Pinnacle gets more confident, they're going to raise the limits. As we get closer to the game day, they're up to a 1K limit on this game. So all we're looking at is the MVP price to know what the bet should actually be priced at. This MVP price is going to take the vig out of the line. We know the sportsbooks have the advantage on that vig price, but using this MVP price kind of turns us into the house, and we actually get the advantage in the long run. So for this bet, the sharp bettors think the fair price should be around minus 111 odds here. So all I did here was look on FanDuel, saw I was getting plus 120 odds, and bet it for the max I was allowed to bet since I'm limited, which was 125. And I also hit the up 2 line here to get down more money. This is a good strategy, a good approach. If both lines are value here and you're limited, you can hit both there and get down a lot more. Then I talked a little bit about this in the last video, but just because a bet is EV doesn't make it some lock. Same with any betting strategy. Where a lot of people go wrong is risk management. What does 15% EV actually mean though? If we're getting plus 120 odds, that means a bet has a 45% chance of winning. This is a better way to think about it. But we know the MVP price, the true odds, is minus 111. That means this bet should actually win 52.61% of the time, meaning the implied probability is better than the actual odds, making it a value play, simple as that. It's not going to win long term, but we know it wins more than the expected odds, making it a good bet to take. This is a way better approach and a way better way to think about betting. What are the true odds of a bet, and am I getting better odds than the true implied probability? If you aren't, skip it and you will start seeing a lot more profit. Next important thing once you start positive EV betting is going to be handling the emotions of the losing days. You're not going to win every single bet. You're going to have losing days, even losing weeks. The better approach for staking would be flat staking or the Kelly criteria to make sure you're not over risking or chasing your losses. I used the Kelly criteria before I got limited. What I use is the Crazy Ninja Mike's tool for this, and all you would do is put your total bankroll, and I would recommend a quarter Kelly here. So my bankroll is 1,000, for example. You're going to put 1,000 here, quarter Kelly, and these are the different DVIG methods. We're going to use the power method here because that's the same one we're using on Pinnacle Odds. And then all you would do is put the odds you're getting. So we're getting minus or plus 120 on the soccer bet, and Pinnacle's no vig price is what you're going to put. The no vig price was minus 110 when we took the bet. This would make it 15% EV, and if I was following the Kelly with the 1K bankroll, I would put $30 on this bet. Or if you were flat staking and I had a 1K bankroll, you would put 1% on every single bet. So I would put $10 on every single play. Or you could do to win 10. So if it's a minus 200 favorite, you put $20 on it. But if you're able to handle the losing days and have proper risk management, you're going to do fine positive EV betting and you will see long-term profit. If you're willing to put in the work, handle the losing days, and always follow your risk management, you can have good results as well and see good profit positive EV betting. This is one of the best ways to actually get an edge over the sportsbook. Think of this like investing or turning you into sportsbook. We have the edge in the long term with this strategy, and we got to just keep firing away at our bets. If you want to get started and use Pinnacle Odds for yourself, check out the description of this video. I'll link it down below. And you can also message me on Twitter or send me a DM on Instagram if you want some settings I use. You can also book a one-on-one coaching call with me or someone on the pod team, and we'll help set it up and break down how to use the tool in a little more detail. If you got any more questions, comment down below and make sure you subscribe to my channel as I do weekly live streams breaking down how I use Pinnacle Odds in real time.